friends, today we are going to be making a mixed media art tag. And when I started out, I really didn't have a theme in mind, so I was just kind of going along and deciding what I was going to do as inspiration struck. And I started out with some Holtz tissue paper, and I've just lined the tag and glued that down. And then I went in with my big brush markers, and I was just trying to add some color, but these weren't quite as opaque as what I was hoping on top of this tissue paper. So you'll see part of the way through, I kind of give up on these, and I decide to go with my distress crayons, and these gave me the perfect effect. I wanted it to be dark enough that you could see the color, but I also wanted to see the really pretty paper through it, so this was really perfect. This worked out great. All I'm doing is just putting down the crayon and then smudging it around with my finger, and then I went in a little bit with a baby wipe, but it really didn't take a whole lot to get it to smear. They worked out really well on top of this paper. I've gone in with some Crackle and Glaze, and I'm just putting this on top, and it says on the bottle not to overwork it, so I'm just kind of trying to let it self-level. And then once it's completely dry, which this took a really long time, and I let it dry by itself because it seemed to do better if I just kind of let it dry at its own pace. It seemed to crackle more, so I left it alone for a long time and let it dry. And then I came back with my black big brush marker, and you can see I was just lightly going over it and then rubbing it off. You can still see the color through it, and it gave a really neat effect. It was a little bit shiny from the Crackle glaze, but you could still see the color. But the black really did something. It helped to kind of tone down some of that shine, but it also really went well with my theme at the end. So here I'm just going in with some of my flower stamps, and I'm just kind of stamping. I don't really mind if the stamps don't turn out perfect. That's not really what I'm going for this. A distressed look is fine with me. I'm painting over them with some Liquitex Matte Medium just to seal the paper and make it a little less porous for when I go in with my big brush markers. And once I have the flowers colored, I'm just going in and getting those cut out. Now I've taken some black gesso and I let it set out for a little bit so it would get thick and kind of a little bit goopy and gloppy. It seems to work better with gesso if you want to use it through a stencil, if you let it sit out and thicken. So that's what I did with the black gesso, and then I'm just putting that through a floral stencil and creating this texture on top of my tag. This took a really long time to dry, so just make sure to be really patient if you use this technique. Now I'm going in and gluing each of the flowers down with some matte medium, and I'm making sure to completely cover the flowers and around them because I'm going to go in with my black big brush marker and add shading after. Now I have some white India ink. I'm just creating splattering. And now I'm stamping my quote, which is "Happiness blooms from within." And I thought this was really perfect for this tag because even though I didn't start out with a plan, the flowers and the beauty are, kind of blooming from the side of the tag, and then the rest of the tag is kind of dark and dreary, but there's, the beautiful color underneath. So I just thought it was a really perfect quote for the theme of this tag. I'm gluing that down with some matte medium and doing what I always do, just making sure that it's completely covered, because I know that I'm going to go in and do some shading around the quote to make it a little more cohesive with the rest of the tag. And here I'm just using a scrapbook punch to make some decorative edging, and this is just some scrapbook paper that I had laying around. And I'm just gluing that on, making sure it's completely dry, and then I just went around the edges and trimmed that off. And then here I am with my big brush marker. I'm just going around the edging that I put on, and I'm putting in some shading because it was pretty bright and it didn't really match the rest of the tag. So I'm just kind of shading and adding some detail there, and then I'm going in and shading around that quote. The white paper really stuck out from the rest of the tag, so I'm just trying to add some distress to it to make it cohesive with the rest of the tag. And these are just some little floral accents that I had, so I'm just adding those in for a little more interest around the piece. My final step is just to go in with my white acrylic paint pen and just add some white highlights and accents throughout the card. And here's the tag completely finished. I was really excited with how it turned out. Like I said, I went in without any sort of plan, and I just kind of let the different pieces speak to me, and this is how it turned out. I'm really happy with it. So if you use any of these techniques or recreate this tag, please make sure to do hashtag SimplyColorfulLife on Instagram. I'd love to see what you're working on. There's a whole bunch more tag videos and art journal mixed media videos to check out on my channel. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!